Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Kelly McCarten. Hope everyone's doing great today. We're going to spend the next 20, 25 minutes together, and I'm going to take you through what my chapter is, and it really is legacy. What will yours be? So thank you for joining us today, and we're going to have an exciting time together. We're going to cover a few things. I want to review a bit of my experience so you get to know me as an individual, as well as understand what my career path has been. And we're going to talk about the definition of legacy and how I am determined to change it. I'm going to cover a few key experiences that have been basically put a fundamental change in my life that I do cover in my chapter, but I go into more extreme details. But that has really impacted me and helped me discover my strengths and what I would want to share and leave in my community. And we're going to end off with sharing some ways that will help you start to think about how to create your legacy. So I've got a little bit of work for you to do today as well. So let's start with a bit of my career, and I can share with you my professional path. I've been working in marketing and advertising for over 30 years, and I've worked in consumer packaged goods or retail. Just to give you an example, I've worked at Coca-Cola for 10 years, then moved to running a consulting firm for 6, moved to then running, I was CEO of Launch Brand Marketing, which was a large marketing services company, and sold it later, 3 years later, to a company that I went with as well and worked for another 6 years. During COVID, I absolutely needed a change, and I moved into a tech startup, which I currently am Chief Growth Officer of Breezy, which is a global sports technology company. And I get the wonderful experience of working with the NHL, the NBA, the NCAA, European football, and ATP tennis. So my chapter as a simple context is really about finding your legacy. We can't leave a legacy without finding something that is meaningful and passionate about us first. So let's start at the beginning. Let's start with the definition of legacy. A legacy is a lasting impact on the world. It's a gift that is passed down through generations, money, property, or even stories. It can also be a business or the profits from that business set up as a foundation or charity. Leaving a legacy means dreaming big and changing the world for something better. So if you think about it, not many of us want to even think about a legacy. It's not natural. It's not in our normal conversation. You don't want to think about it because it usually refers to you not being here. So who wants to think about that? Well, I want to change that conversation. I want to change the narrative so that everyone starts to reflect on what or how they would like to leave a legacy. All of us. It's not just for celebrities, billionaires, world leaders. It should not be daunting to talk about or think about. It should not be left for when you're 80 or 90, because then you don't have a lot of time to leave. I want to redefine the word legacy so it becomes an everyday occasion leading up to significant contribution to your community and your life. I want to change the definition so we all understand it's better to know what you want to do right now, today, not 90 years old. So leaving a legacy, I think, is more about leaving money or possession behind. It's about making a difference in the lives of the people around you and world at large. It's about leaving behind something that will continue to inspire and help others in the future. A legacy can be as simple as a kind word or gesture that you give to someone else. It can be a legacy of service or of hard work or creativity. It can be a legacy of generosity or kindness. It can also be a legacy of courage, resiliency. It can be leadership or integrity. It can also be a legacy of knowledge or wisdom. You can share stories and provide guidance that will help others make better decisions in the future. No matter what your legacy is, it's important to remember that it will live longer than after you're gone. And it's up to you to decide what kind of legacy you would like to leave. and how well, of course, it will preserve after you've gone. So we're all here to learn and grow. You've signed up to attend this summit, which is amazing. So I think you're already taking the first step towards your journey. You are open to learn and reflect on your current state and where you want to grow as a leader or as an individual. So congratulations, you've started your new career path, which is amazing. So keep in mind your legacy can extend to your family, to your extended family, your community, a city, or even larger. And don't let the world and the noise around you make you feel that impacting 5 people or 5,000 people, it doesn't matter. The impact is there. So I'm going to share where my impact or my aha moment came in my 30s. I was extremely driven, determined young individual entering the workforce. And I had milestones for every career marker in my life. Then in my mid 30s, I worked with some key individuals, as well as I met my husband that had an amazing impact on my life. And I dramatically reflected externally on what made me be an impactful leader versus, again, these milestones, my progression and my promotion. So it was very integral to me that I really pivoted at that time and really started to think of how I influence and impact my team, my colleagues, and my employees versus just climbing that ladder. I didn't know what I was really reflecting on in my early 30s, but now fast forward 20 years, and it really made me understand that I was starting to leave a legacy. And I was unconscious at that time of what kind of impression I wanted to leave. So today I will include segments of my story and how I stumbled on my legacy, but we'll also add to frame of how you can build your legacy. So exciting stuff to really cover today. So my chapter is Legacy, What Will Be Yours? And my chapter begins explaining how I grew up in a family of 6. I have 3 sisters, so there's 4 girls in the family. And my father unfortunately died of a heart attack when I was 11, which turned my life and my family obviously upside down. This dynamic incident propelled me into being an extremely independent and self-sufficient kid and then young adult. So I had a very determined and focus on my career and being financially self-sufficient and depend on myself, only myself, to succeed. And so that kind of explains why I was probably very internally reflective and counting those milestones to mark my achievements, because I was very internally focused. This event single-handedly propelled me into a very independent way that at that age specifically, not many of my peers had to think of. Obviously, I was 11, so it started very young. But to my mom's credit, she did nothing, obviously, she did more. She's all right. I said she had nothing. She did everything to support me at that time. When you read my chapter, you'll notice that I use a metaphor to describe my career as a road, a slightly bumpy road at that, and a road that has turns where you can't really see around them, bumps, potholes, that really impacts me when you hit them. But 2 fundamental things that I did not have growing up when I was focused on my career and entering the business world that I think was really meaningful. I was not fortunate enough to have a mentor to help guide me and provide me strategic knowledge to help me through my career. And I did not have a community of supporters to help me along my way. But as you kind of hear of my earlier independence, I don't even know if I would have let someone in, but I just didn't have that support at that time. And this was in a day we didn't have social media, LinkedIn, or these wonderful women groups that now, and this movement that is now happening. And this made my road a little more windy and definitely without directional signs for sure. My chapter covers the progression throughout my career and my major incidences that truly shaped me as an individual as well as my path. And today, I want to share one of those key stories that hopefully will show you that everyone can find themselves at a dead end in their career, or find themselves in a dead end and not knowing a way out, and how this situation also helped me find a way to help others that might follow. I start as a single mom of two kids, how a divorce impacted me professionally and personally, how it made me more determined to create financial independence and not sort of fail again. And I truly looked at it as a failure, unfortunately. I don't now, which is amazing. I'm truly thankful of where I am and happier because of it. But I was successful in progressing in my career, moving up that ladder and taking on more and more responsibility. And I still did mark off those achievements that I wanted to do. One was leading an organization, and that came when I was hired as CEO of Launch Brand Marketing, a large marketing agency, which was in really extremely poor shape at the time. They were slowly going into bankruptcy, and making payroll was every 2 weeks was a major challenge. In less than 3 years, I turned it around and sold it to a large experiential agency. And I moved over to that agency and continued to lead it as a separate business unit. It was around 5 years into this company that I was working with that they hired a new CEO out of the US to report. Everybody would report into this new CEO. He was a very direct and impressionable man. You knew him as soon as he entered the room. He presented himself extremely well and showed some charisma. So we thought, this might actually work out. Well, it didn't take long for us to understand that this man was more of a tyrant than anything else. I talk about how I truly lost my voice, my courage, my thinking. I literally walked around as a zombie trying to survive. I was frozen in time to protect myself from constant barrage of attacks and constant bullying. I was a woman that obviously was very successful, running companies, creating businesses. It didn't matter. I was turned into a 6-year-old child being told to stay in my corner. It was devastating. Our entire leadership team was impacted and felt the same way. This went on for an entire 1 year and made us all numb to our roles, responsibility, and our clients. We protected our teams. That was number one. We made sure we protected them, but we knew we were slowly losing parts of ourselves. But I explained how I eventually find my voice. I provide critical feedback to our ownership, and they made the smart choice, and he was eventually fired. I share this story more to inform all women and men that doesn't matter how strong or experienced you are. You can find yourself in these unique situations that can paralyze you in fear and from taking any action. Bullies have this impact, whether you're 5 or whether you're 65. But I also want to remind you to find something that you can control, whether that's reaching out to someone, calling a mentor, leaving the role, just leaving. There are things that you can control. And it is so important to obviously have the ability to take small steps. Even one action will give you a bit of yourself back. But I would stress taking action. Any action is better than being frozen and not taking any step forward. This experience had a tremendous impact on my work and my professional growth, but I turned it around to ensure that 1, it doesn't happen to me again. And 2, I can help anyone through similar experience to help them find their voice and push forward to find their path again. From the beginning of my career as an independent, driven individual to becoming a strong collaborative leader, to having it shattered by a corporate tyrant, and to rebounding and getting an amazing role in sports technology. I've had to reflect and really understand what a legacy and the attributes that I wanted to share or leave behind. It has been a very long road from a stubborn young career woman to an executive leader. I went from an individual leader to a very collaborative one at that. I developed into a leader where people were able to achieve their best, feel recognized and empowered in their work environment, where they felt safe and recognized. Being able to provide an environment where all people have a voice and feel the support and confidence to contribute to deliver their best. I'm lucky enough to say that I've achieved everything I wanted in my 20-something that I set out to achieve. And I'm now being able to travel the world working with some of the top professional sports teams. So it doesn't always, even though you think you have a plan, it doesn't always turn out the way you had imagined it when you were younger. But the good news is, for me, it turned out better. My two kids out of a divorce turned into three with my stepson when I married my husband. And the way he spoke about, way he led and the way people spoke about him actually inspired me to develop a mission to leave every person I interacted better than how I found them. And for that, I'm extremely thankful. My career successes were not without challenges through sexual harassment, corporate bullying, narcissistic leaders, being surrounded by far more executive women now than I did in the early 2000s. I'm lucky to be befriended incredible women group working across many industries. The notion of support, encouragement, and the rally women have today is amazing. And we need to continue to support each other and continue this movement. I have one friend, a dear friend of mine, who shared that she never felt that she had to struggle or keep up, and that her climb to the top was well paved. I was, at the time I was talking to her, I actually was waiting for the punchline, but she was sincere. It may be due to different career paths, but there was no doubt that mine felt less smooth. Like a drive out in the country with a bad wheel. Regardless of how your path is paved, approach challenges with a sense of curiosity and hope. I have learned a tremendous amount about each bump, and I have become stronger and a more empathetic leader in the process. Through my hardships, I've determined to make the path easier for those who have followed me, untangled any corporate web, move branches out of the way so they could drive through, and give them the confidence to trust themselves, make them feel more capable, more worthy than they did when they started. It is all about making the road a little more smoother for those who follow. My hope is that I leave a legacy of integrity, of kindness, of community that will pave the way for others so they won't have to brave the bumpy road. I became a mentor that I yearned for in my 20s. I support 3 to 4 mentees a year for the past 2 decades. And I provide them with direction, networking, job opportunities, encouragement, so they go beyond their dreams and passions. And I highly recommend that each one of you on this meeting today find a mentor for your career. And they can help you in career as well as personal. But find someone you look up to, someone you want to emulate, someone who has the same fundamental values, but challenges you and also presents diverse thinking. And then your next step, what I want you to do, I want you to find a mentee. Be the mentor for the next generation. If you just finished college, then mentor someone in high school. If you've got 5 years experience, help guide someone who has just graduated. There are so many ways that you can help support and mentor within your network and community. Okay, are you ready to do some work? So now we're going to work on your legacy. We're going to build it right now. We won't finish it today, but we're going to start. So I recommend you picking up some pen, a paper, and we are going to find what your passions are. We are going to find out what your priorities are, what your values are. And by writing down all your core values, you're going to be able to pinpoint what makes you fulfilled and what's your purpose in life, and then build a legacy around it. So I got a lot of training on this from actually Tony Robbins. He's got 7 steps to legacy. So number 1 is purpose. So discover your purpose. By writing down your core values, you're able to pinpoint what will make you most fulfilled, basically your purpose in life, and then build your legacy around it. Number 2 is skill set. Reveal your natural skills and ability. Sometimes this might seem difficult. Ask the people around you, ask your network, ask your family, who stands out to you? Who do you admire and why? And it can sometimes be someone close to you that can help you reflect on what your strengths are and how you can bring them out, and reflect on that and make you think of what you want to bring to the table every day. Number 3 is passion. What do you have the passion for? Anything that you are passionate about that brings out the best and the emotional connection to you. Finding your passion and relating it back to your purpose and your innate skills and talents is the recipe for a legacy. Number 4 is X factor. What do you possess as a special X factor that no one else has? It's unique to you. Maybe it's a unique service, product, or your company that you run, but it fulfills a specific need. And number 5 is mapping it out. What is your plan? Create a plan with specific milestones of what you have to do to get there. Do you need training, education? You need a specific experience or connections. What are the next steps to help you get there and then help you build, obviously, to create further personal growth? Number 6 is inspire. Take the time to inspire the next generation. Think of all the knowledge and experience that you can pass along to well-needed and deserving individuals. It will truly go a long way. And number 7 is giving back. Creating a customized program aligned with your product to be a visionary way to elevate you and your brand while leaving a legacy. Giving back can also prove a beautiful way to find some self-fulfillment. Contribution is one of the basic human needs that drives us all. So what will you leave as your legacy? So this is what I have done. I took the strength and desire to be a mentor that I never had, and I have been mentoring, obviously, as I indicated, for the last 20 years. And I usually work with these people for many, many years. So they stay with me, which is lovely. I created the Women's Club. It's a small, safe, and trusted membership of executive women who support, inspire, and motivate each other. I'm a member of Leadership Global, and I'm on the Leadership Board Advisor. I belong to C-Suite Network and WISE, which is Women in Sports and Events, Toronto. And I've been a member of the board of directors for MAD Toronto for 5 years. I started mentoring 20 years ago, the next generation of men and women who will impact the industry, and created the Lang School of Business Women in Leadership Entrance Scholarship to provide financial support to young girls who are attending college and university. I've been a past professor at Humber College, and I sit on the advisory committee for that college. For fun, I took a real estate investors course, and I started with my husband purchasing houses in 2021. I renovated 2 of them, and we're going to appear on the HGTV episode later this year. I am immensely happily married and now live outside of Toronto with my 3 kids, who are all launched and very independent. And now I am an author. So I feel I'm still getting started, and I have so much more to do. I hope this helps you make a very small step, but a single step towards building a legacy. And I hope that you have a smooth, safe, long career road ahead. Thank you.